Malrik's Hall of Illusion will be coming to the global server in the July patch. Here, we'll go over what the Keystone Trials entail and the new gear enhancement system in Watcher of Realms. Okay, before we go on to the particulars, I just want to quickly mention my Discord. And here is the project that I'm starting and that I'm hoping that you can also help me expand it. So I'm going to show you exactly what I have done here. I created a little thread, and within it, we can actually then publish different runs, different keystones. And that's what I have started to do. So for those of you that were not able to join the stream that I did about the Hall of Illusions, we not only spent 2 hours talking about what to expect, and I also gave you kind of a runaround on how things are looking now, but we did 4 runs to just kind of give you an idea how each one of these keystones works. Now, here we're going to do a condensed version, but again, if you want to look at that stream, I'm going to post that link of that stream in the description section of this video. But because of that, then it allowed me to then record runs. And that's essentially what I have done here. So as you can see here, I clicked on it, and essentially what I did is in the title, I put the label, what rarity it is, and what boss and any other conditions that might be applied to it. And then you can see here the keystone that we applied, and at the same time we then also posted a video. So what I'm hoping here is that now we have a library that people can access, and they can run their keystone knowing exactly where possibly the spawn points are going to occur. So you can see here I'm using the roster, and then there is a run that goes through it, and you're going to see here how exactly everything came out. It does not necessarily mean that you need the heroes that I'm showing here. It just gives you an idea where everything is coming from, so you can plan ahead. And why is that so integral? Well, so as you can see here in this layout, this is the Hall of Illusions. Here are the keystones, and I will tell you where you can get these in a minute. But essentially what's going to happen is that once you choose that keystone, so here is a level 3, rarity is a legendary, so here are the conditions. It tells us which boss we're going to encounter. In this one, it happens to be the Scorch Devourer, but then it gives us the conditions here. So we have a healing fly, the joints in possibly going to be in different spawn points. But the thing is that this, if we don't eliminate this fly, is going to heal anything that it surrounds. The other condition is that increases allies damage taken by 25%. So that's our allies taking more damage than they need to. Not only that, here the Scorch Devourer, another condition is that along the path it deals damage to heroes, and then monsters in the trail flames become enhanced. So essentially is they're harder to kill, and we saw that in some of the runs that I did. Now, the reason that you want to kind of have an idea of what's going on is because once we submit this, so we're going to insert this, and it gives us the condition, and then we say we're going to challenge it. But the first thing that you are going to see is that it's going to tell you, once you activate the keystone, you cannot back out of the run. Okay, you have to run the key as it stands. If you at any point allow 10 breaches of the course, that's it. Your run is done, and you only get the chest up to the point that you were able to reach throughout the trial. No, you cannot exit. No, you cannot restart. If you do, you lose the keystone. Okay? Now, one of the things that I have been told in the stream is that if you back out of the game during the run, you do not lose the keystone. Be careful, because I imagine that at some point they may patch that, but you never know. But that would be one possible way that you can save the keystone that you have. As you can see here, not only do I have level 3s, but I also have level 2s, and then it goes down to level 1. Now, here in the test server, I do not have any level 1s, but in my Forerunner accounts, we did, and we tried some of these. Essentially, what you're going to have to note is that the level matters more than the rarity. So you see how they're ordered here. The drops here for this one is better than this level 2 mythic. So here, I'm going to click on this, and then you can see there's a possibility here to drop a red already with this common level 3, where this mythical, we do have a possibility of getting it, and we have the possibility of it, but the rates increase to get the mythic chest. It's essentially what we have learned in that. So, and the level 3s are more difficult to complete, which makes sense, right? Because the difficulty is ramping up. The other thing that I also want to note, so Malrik is going to be here right in the camp along with everybody else. He's standing here by his own, and occasionally you see a red dot that tells you that you have some keystone to complete. The other thing that I wanted to emphasize is the capacity here. At the moment right now, we only can keep 50 of these keystones in our accounts. Once you reach the 50 mark, as it says here on the bottom right, you will not get any more keystone drops from farming the gear rate. So if you want a shot at getting more level 3s and subsequently level 4s into your account, it is better to get rid of the lower quality, because these are possibly going to be the ones where the runs are going to go a lot quicker. So you want to make sure that you try to free up some space before you do any gear raid farming. Now, why do I say gear raid farming? Well, because these are the stages here, gear 1, 2, and 3, where you are going to get the drops for these keystones. Okay, so let me go up here. I'm gonna go to 18. You can see nothing yet. You have to get into 19. Now the keystones start appearing. So when you reach stage 19, you're gonna start getting the possibility of getting level 1 and level 2 keystone drops. Okay, now you start progressing your account and you get to 21. Now you're gonna see keystone levels 1, 2, 3. So, and it's random. You're gonna get any level, any rarity. It's just gonna show up after you do your runs. Then it is time to push to 22 and 23, and as we expect, the rates of possibly getting level 3s will increase as we start increasing our progress in the gear rates. And finally, 24. 24 is where the level 4s are going to drop. So for those of you that are at endgame, this is where you're the only source, at least from what we're able to see, that you are going to get these chests. So gear dungeons, we didn't see them. I did not notice these chests dropping from any other location. And then the other thing that we are going to then wait for the future is that we are, because here, as you can see, there is this level toggle here that I can click. And as you can see here from behind, I'm going to move myself a little bit here, that in the future, there will be a possibility of getting level 5s. I'm assuming that this could possibly be coming from other sources that are not in the game yet. Abyss 2, it's a hypothetical, but there's definitely that they're thinking about increasing or giving us higher levels of these keystones, possibly more challenging stages as well. The other thing that we also are thinking that could happen here, because there's a lot of space here, is that the black sewer may not be the only option here when it comes to these keystones. There's possibly going to be other stages coming where, for example, maybe platform units are more favored over ground units as it is here in the black sewer. Because in this guy, for the black sewer, we can only use 3 platforms. Everything else is ground. Okay, so there's definitely avenues here for them to expand Malrik's Hall of Illusions. Before we continue on with today's presentation, I just wanted to briefly mention my second channel, Sebastian Kane's XP. If you're ever wondering what else I might be trying out in the gacha genre, feel free to subscribe. Link in the description section of the video. All right, so when the update rolls out, you're going to see 3 different buttons now show up. So yes, we had our Foundry one, that still remains. We had the Gear Plan ones, that's still there, but now we're going to gain the Gear Enhancement feature here. this is what's going to look like. So it's going to give you the list of resources that you have. So you have the recasting hammers, the refining crystals, the ancient refining crystals, and then the different type of gear enhancement gems that the game will have. So first thing you do is you go look for the piece that you want to work on. And so let's say for this example, I'm just going to pick ancient mythic just at random, nothing necessary, so we're going to pick that up. And so then it's going to give us the options of which gems or which refining crystals we can use on this piece. See, since we are already here, let's talk about the Darkfall Gem. What is the Darkfall Gem going to allow you to do? Is essentially you're going to be able to add additional stats to the main one. So here the main one is critical damage. So what is the option here? It's telling me that it can roll an additional 2 to 6%. Now, it also gives you the options to see what the other pieces are going to roll if they match the main stat. So for those that are HP bonus, you're going to get anything between 1 and 5%. If it's crit rate, 1 and 5%. If it's attack speed that you're looking for, main, 5 to 18. Is the gain in attack speed. Those with flat attack, 20 to 85. So we're talking about the weapons. If you're talking about product breastplate, you can get up to 360 additional HP. So essentially, as here, you come in, you're gonna RNG, and it tells me I gain 2.3% additional crit damage. So that's what's going to. And if you want to push this further, you can keep going, right? It is unlimited. It does not block you, and you can keep going until you reach the amount or what you're willing to spend in this particular piece. Okay. All right. Then the other one is going to be the Transmutation Gem enhancement. This is the big one. This is the one that is going to be available in the level 4 chest that I was telling you about. So you need to at least be farming one of the gear rate 24s for you to be able to try to get even one of these pieces. All right, so the reason that the Transmutation Gem is going to be the special one, the more desired one, is because we're going to be able to change the substat. So you can see here, I just picked a random ancient warlord weapon that I have laying around here. Since this here is an HP flat substat, I can tell it, you know what? I want to try to see if I can change this. So I'm going to use one of these, and then it randomly goes through, and it then asks you if you want to keep your old substat or you want to switch to the new one. So we got defense flat. Unfortunate. That's not what we really wanted out of this. And then again, we keep rolling. So we'll do one more to see if we can get a better stat than the flat ones. All right, there, we got attack speed. So we're going to take this. All right. So now we have locked the substat. All right. So when it comes to using our refining crystals, now we are restricted to this particular substat, and that is the only substat that we can now re-roll. So please be careful when you decide to use a Transmutation Gem on it. And so then you come in, and if this the substat that you liked, we can roll it, and now we increase our attack speed a little bit more. We make the gear even better. So here, I'm selecting a weapon that I already know I have used an ancient refining crystal on. So the substat is already blocked, all right? So if I want to use a Transmutation Gem on this piece, I can no longer go for the healing effect here. I have to now be restricted to doing the rage region, okay? So that is going to be another piece of information that you need to keep in mind, that when you use a refining crystal on a piece, you're pretty much then restricting where you can use a Transmutation Gem at. And if you use a Transmutation Gem on a piece, now you're restricting where you're going to be able to use that refining crystal. For this example here, I am using an ancient warlord weapon, okay? And what we're going to do is that now we're going to try to add a variant attribute to this by using this variant gem enhancement. What are the choices? Is everything that we know is in the game. So we can get anything from adding attack to attack speed to defense to HP, or any of those other special ones like the Unstoppable Force or Steady Poise or the Tidal Wave. And so everything here will be RNG as to which one we're going to be able to get. Now, For us to use this variant gem piece, of course, the weapon or the bangle, because those are the only two pieces that we can get variants from, have to be of the ancient quality, not the standard mythic ones, okay? So here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and use the gem, and this is the only shot that I get out of it. So there we go. We get the Witch's Charm out of this, where we're going to get increased damage, and it says here the basic attack has a 2% chance of transforming the target into a critter. So it is kind of a polymorph type variance that we just added to this piece, and now it locks. We cannot re-roll the variant attribute. It's fixed. We already selected it, so that's what we have to roll with. Here I went and picked up ancient mana spring ring that I had in the account, so you can see it is actually a T1 set. So what this evolution gem allows us to do is that we are going to be able to essentially ascend it to be a T2 or T3 ring piece. Now, what are the options when it comes to something like the mana spring? Well, RNG, we're going to be able to transform it into either an invigoration piece, a wing of grace piece, or a morale set piece. So here we go again, RNG, we get a wing of grace, and that is now what it transforms to. Okay, so for this example, we're going to pick a T1 here, a guardian piece. So what are the options for something like this? Well, we're going to be able to get it into either be Unshaken Will set or a Temper Will set. So here we go. My guardian piece now becomes a Unshaken Will piece. So it gets moved up, we get additional stats, and now we use it as that piece. So again, it can be either an ancient piece or it can be just a standard mythical piece for you to be able to use that variant on. Now let's look at the DPS set. So T1 here, Fracture. This is one of the early DPS sets that we have. So we're going to add this one. We can come here to the Evolution Gem Enhancement. What are our options here? Well, we can transform this into an Ageless Wrath piece, an Infernal Roar, Soulbound Arcana, or the T3's Health Lament and Cataclysm. So here we go. We're going to evolve it, and we get Cataclysm. So we just switched it over to be now a Cataclysm piece. So that's essentially what that Evolution Gem will do for your T1 gear. In addition to us being able to enhance the gear pieces that we have, we're going to be able to enhance our artifact pieces as well. So these gems here will also drop from the Hall of Illusions, especially after we do our Keystone Trial runs. You can kind of see that in the chest that I shown you in terms of what can drop in each one of these. So let's go through each one of these, and then I can show you exactly what we're going to be able to do with each one of these gems. So here they call this Augmentation Gem. The middle one is an Advanced Augmentation Gem, and then the bright red one is a Runic Augmentation Gem. So what do each one of these do? Well, let's start with the common one. And as you can see with the common one here, we're going to be able to add either HP or attack to this piece. So that's essentially what I'm going to try to do here. So we added 160 HP. We can keep rolling on this as much as we want to. And that one, the RNG hit HP again. And this one again, it hit HP. And we almost got to halfway as to what it can possibly roll. So 770 out of 1000, that's pretty good. And if you want to, you can keep going until you hit attack. Of course, if it's a lower value, it will not replace the higher value. So you just lose the gem. And so right now we just keep persistently hitting HP, which is really weird. There, finally we hit attack. So that's essentially how that's going to work. Now, the advanced augmentation piece is going to do the same thing, but you can see the values increase. Now we can get up to 4000 HP and 1200 attack. So here we go. Let's use this a couple times, see how much we can boost this particular piece. So that one we did not hit. Now this one is going to give us extra attack. There, we now have a little bit more stats added to this. And then the final one, the Runic Augmentation one. This is the big one, folks, because this one is going to add one of these substats to our artifact piece. attack bonus, HP bonus, crit rate, healing effect, defense bonus, rage regen, critical damage, and attack speed. And as you can see here, these are the ranges that you can expect for each one of the subsets to be able to roll. So for example, rage regen anywhere between 3% and 15%, attack speed anywhere between 10 and 50%, and then something like HP is 5% to 15%, just as an example. So here we go. We're going to see what subset we're going to be able to add to this. We get attack speed. Hey, you know what? For this type of artifact, we will take it. Healers do need speed. So there we go. There is attack speed. Now, what happens if we decide to roll it again? We can change it, right? So now we get healing effect if we want to. So now it's going to ask us, do you want to keep the attack speed that you had previously, or do you want to now change it to healing effect? I'm going to say for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to pick healing effect. And we can do this again if we want to. And now we're going to get HP bonus. And in this case, I said, no, it's a healer that I'm using this on. I'm going to keep the healing effect. That's exactly how this Runic Augmentation used. So it picks the subset and then it picks the range. It's going to pick the value. So again, for the healing effect that we rolled, that's the low end. So if you're hoping to then increase the healing effect, you're going to have to gamble that not only you get that subset again, but you get a higher value. So here, I'm going to do it again. Critical damage? No, not for this piece. No, thank you. We just can keep rolling all we want here. But that's essentially how that works there. And that's how you can expect now to be able to enhance our artifacts. All right, so what do each one of these chests drops? And that's probably what you're more curious about. So let's start with the blue one here. The best thing that we can possibly get out of the blue one is an evolution gem. The drop rate is probably going to be a little bit low because I yet to still see one from all the runs that I've done. Most of the time we're going to get augmentation gems and then some shards for either a legendary scarce critter or a hammer, and then sometimes a rare summoning crystal does pop up. But that's going to essentially what you can expect from a blue chest. From a purple chest, or in this case, let's call it an epic chest. Now things get a little bit interesting because we can start getting shards for an advanced refining crystal, and also the Darkfall Gem here drops as well. Now the legendary chest is where we can start getting variant gems, so the odds are going to be a little bit low, but at least now we have an opportunity to get that. Not only that, we're going to get Runic Augmentation Gems. Those are the ones that I showed you that you can add a subset to our artifacts. Finally, the big one here is going to be this Mythic chest, because now in addition to possibly getting the better odds to get a Runic Augmentation Gem or an Evolution Gem, now we can see that you can get legendary summoning crystals and ancient summoning crystals in here as well as 4 full hammers and full refining crystals. And again, this is for a level 3 rune. Okay, so level 4, we expecting that those odds further increase. And not only that, the level 4 should also give us the opportunity to get the Transmutation Gem. Finally, to close out this video, I'm going to do one Keystone trial run. So for this one, I'm going to pick a level 2 Mythic Keystone here. And as you can see, the conditions, there are multiple that we have to keep in mind. Number 1, this is a Baron Boss Keystone trial. 2, this one has Abyssal Divers. Well, essentially what we have to compensate for is that when these fellas drop to 50% HP, they will jump and they will then encounter the next unit. They jump 2 tiles. Also, we have Healing Flies, so we're going to need marksmen or fighters that can hit air to bring those down and then don't heal anybody adjacent to them. Our allies' attack speed is being reduced by 50. Also, Baron here is going to take less damage, but the more units that we have around him, he'll then take more damage. So it's compensation there that we have to keep in mind. So that, I'm going to put this keystone in here, and again, if our cores are reached, the run is done. We only get the chest that we got to a certain point, and we lose the keystone if we do not complete the challenge, which is essentially what it's telling us here. The final thing here for the black sewer, this is the positionings here, so you can see when they tell you from where they were spawned, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is actually how they number them. Also, the keystone might say that they're just going to spawn at any point throughout the map. So some of the possible especially the spawn points that jump around, is that it could come from this side here, or from the bottom right here, or they could come from this side here, kind of bottom left. So these are the other spawn points that can also occur here. So those are the ones that we have to watch out for as well, based on the keystone. So that's essentially what that entails. You can kind of see you only get 3 platforms for this particular stage, and everything else is ground tiles available. So where you see the light part, that's all available to our ground units there. All right, so let's go ahead and get this running. Hopefully it works. And there you have it. That was one of the successful runs that we were able to have with the level 2 Mythic Keystone. Now, I do have to apologize because I did purposely pick that particular Keystone to kind of illustrate as to how long a Keystone trial run, could possibly take. This is average, all right? The lower level ones, they go a little bit quicker. And as you can imagine, the level 3s will be a little bit more difficult to contend with. Not only that, if you're asking yourself, after I beat a certain Keystone trial, then do you auto run after that? The answer to that is no. There are no auto battles available in the Malrik Hall of Illusions as it stands at the moment, given that each keystone provides different conditions and also provides different spawning points. So when you do have keystones to use, plan a good portion of time to do 3-4 runs, because this, unfortunately, on average, this is how long you can expect to invest on something like this. And after you're done with a Keystone 2, Class 2, these are the type of rewards that you can expect. So at least for this role, we only got an advanced augmentation and an augmentation gem. All right. So that's what we have to go with. And we did pick up some charge for hammers, legendary crystal, and some rare summoning crystals for that one keystone. So as you can imagine, the more keystones you do, the more you're going to be able to pile on. That'll do it for this video, folks. If you have any questions, please put them on the comment section of this video. Also, I will point you to the aforementioned stream that I did. We also talked about this. We did more runs to kind of give you an idea of what else to expect. Remember, on my Discord, I'm going to try to expand that library as much as we can, and I hope that you can contribute to it. Until the next video, we will see you then.